יואב גלנט, אתה לא יכול לנצח מלחמה. תתפטר.
We start with the war in Gaza. It's been more than 230 days of intense fighting. And recently, it's been one-way traffic. Israel bombing relentlessly and Hamas on the run. But over the weekend, Hamas tried to hit back. They launched a rare counterattack, that too on Tel Aviv. Take a look at these pictures. Israel counted 8 rockets. They were fired from Rafah. They flew almost 100 kilometers to Tel Aviv. It's one of the biggest cities in Israel, also the country's commercial capital. Tel Aviv was last targeted around 4 months back. Since then, it's been largely peaceful. That peace was disrupted on Sunday. Israel says they shot down most of the Hamas rockets, but air raid sirens did go off.
פנימה.
Why did Hamas do this? Was it to send a message to Israel's government, or was it to intimidate Israeli civilians? Either way, it's a strange decision because public opinion was turning firmly against Israel, but this attack could change it again. It has confirmed 2 things for us. 1, that Hamas still has the means to strike Israeli cities, and 2, they also have the will to do it. Basically, Hamas proved Benjamin Netanyahu's point. So Israel hit back. They targeted the southern city of Rafah. Bombs were dropped on an area meant for displaced Gazans. Video showed a massive fire at the camp. And casualties? The exact number is not clear yet, but reports say at least 40 people were killed, including women and children.
في مخيم نزوح في منطقة موقع الحشاشين.
Suddenly, we heard the sound of a missile. We ran and found the street covered in smoke. We did not see anything. We went into the house and did not find anyone when we checked over the wall and found a girl and a young man who had been cut into pieces.
There is no security, not for a child, an elderly man, or for a woman. Here he is with his wife. They were martyred. They are gone. He left the children, the innocent ones. What have they done to deserve this? The children have been orphaned.
It's horrifying. But was it also deliberate? Well, there is no other explanation. A refugee camp is pretty obvious on a map, so bombing it is a deliberate act, and not a new one for Israel, by the way. They have repeatedly been accused of targeting civilians. But this time, there is more outrage because of these pictures. We've seen babies being rushed out of hospitals and civilians burnt alive in the inferno. So Israel has been forced to give an explanation. A military prosecutor called this incident grave. She also said it is under investigation.
Some incidents, like last night's incident in Rafah, are very difficult. The details of yesterday's incident are still under an investigation, which we are committed to conducting to the fullest extent. Israel Defense Forces regrets any harm to non-combatants during the war.
Couple of things to note here. First of all, this is not collateral damage. This is deliberate targeting. And secondly, it's a backward step by both sides. Hamas did the same thing on October 7. They unleashed a brutal terror attack on Israel. And who paid for it? The people of Gaza. 8 months later, they have done it again. Instead of peace, Hamas chose violence. Same with Israel. Last week was a political nightmare for them. A United Nations court asked Prime Minister Netanyahu to stop the Rafah offensive. A prosecutor is trying to arrest him. And what does he do? Bomb a refugee camp. Netanyahu is trying to capitalize on recent events. In his pitch, it is not Netanyahu versus global courts. It is Israel versus the world. It's a pitch that can potentially unite Israelis, but only in the short run. In the long run, people will only remember 2 things: who won and how did they win. And that's the worry for Netanyahu. Many Israelis disagree with his methods. They want him to focus on talks, on getting hostages released from Gaza. Others think that he should push on, destroy Hamas even at the cost of civilian lives. And the biggest worry? These divisions are seeping into the military. Take a look at this video. It shows an IDF soldier somewhere in Gaza. The graffiti behind him is linked to an outlawed Jewish supremacist group. And what is he saying in this video? That Defense Minister Yoav Gallant must quit. Now, Gallant has questioned Netanyahu's policy. He wants Israel to focus on post-war Gaza. But Netanyahu says, let's beat Hamas first. And this soldier in the video backs the Prime Minister. He wants complete victory over Hamas in Gaza. If not, then he says 100,000 soldiers will revolt. And this is unprecedented. Israel's army has always been apolitical. They have never picked sides in domestic squabbles. So why are they doing it now? Because October 7th has divided the country. Around 70% Israelis want to fight until Hamas is defeated, but 62% also say that total victory is impossible. Thus, Prime Minister Netanyahu is deeply unpopular. 71% Israelis want him to resign, either now or right after the war. They want him to go. We saw evidence of that on Saturday. A massive anti-government protest was organized in Tel Aviv. Thousands of people turned up, including families of hostages in Gaza. Most of them had the same message. War won't get our family back, only negotiations will. But the question is, can the talks resume? It depends on political will. Hamas's rocket attack does not inspire confidence. Neither does Israel's response. Negotiations are the need of the hour because this war is changing both sides permanently. Gaza is now a scarred land, both physically and socially, and Israel's divisions are threatening their most prized institution, their army. So now is the time to pause and pull back.
Firstpost reports from the world's second largest continent. Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. South Africa goes to the polls on the 29th of May. I will track the election and bring you ground reports. Is it the end of the road for the African National Congress? And will former President Jacob Zuma stage a dramatic comeback? From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global South. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost.